Hi, everyone. It's actually very difficult for me to make today's presentations because I have big questions to share or to answer or to talk. First of all, everything nowadays has to have something to do with the AI, so-called artificial intelligence. AI is no longer a noun, it's actually a verb. If you don't have anything quote-unquote related to the AI, you will be nobody. But that is only a perceptions. But even worse for today's presentations, it has a word called innovations. Particularly for a lot of startup companies or even big corporations, every minute you have to do something quote-unquote innovative. So you put artificial intelligence and the innovation together, it creates an even big imaginations for you to stay. So everybody talk about AI. Another thing you have to do is to associate the AI, whatever you are going to do, with the things called smart. Because AI stands for smart. If you don't have AI, you are not smart. But if you have AI, are you really smart? So that is really a lot of small companies or any kind of new innovation that deal with artificial intelligence has to answer themselves. They have to face one thing. Is this smart, quote unquote, smart of the AI solution or innovations? Which market this particularly AI technology is going to address? There are many, many industry sectors, so-called the industry expertise or the market analysis. They talk lots about the industry, the potential, and potentials. Today I'm going to share with you an industry. Maybe it's because of a situation of COVID-19. Let's talk about the health industry. So we put all the buzzwords together. We have the things called SmartHealth AI Innovation. Kind of big subject to go with it. And hopefully my next 20, maybe 25 minutes is sharing with you as part of the experiences I've been working on for the past 2.5 years is might enlighten you something, might give you some thought. I might get some feedbacks from the entire industry. By the way, my name is Chang. I'm the president of the company called FaceHeart. So what is FaceHeart doing? What I'm doing, or the entire, quote unquote, I won't use the word employees. I will use the families of FaceHeart that are working on for the past 2.5 years. So we put the things, again, called SmartHealth AI Innovations. The company's name called FaceHeart. So it's very straightforward. It's our slogan also. We connect AI from your face to your heart. It looks like a very big, very big climb. So the number one question being asked for pretty much the past year is the number one question is, what is the secret sauce of your technologies? It is artificial intelligence. It is just a machine learning. It's a curve for a lot of people trying to overcome. So let's talk about the technology itself. Before we talk about what AI or what AI solution FaceHeart is providing, in a nutshell, we connect the face to your heart because we use a single cameras. Just looking at your face, then we know your heart rate, we know your heart rate variability, we even know your blood pressures or your SpO2, so-called blood saturations. All these things can be classified as things called vital signs. Your vital signs. I'm doing exercise, pumping, my heart is pumping. I got infected by the COVID-19, I become dying. I'm so bad, so bad. So the only thing that will right away reflect your vital signs. But the health condition related to the vital sign essentially has nothing to do with the COVID-19 situation. But it does reflect a general purpose, regardless you are older person or a younger person, your general health conditions. This kind of vital sign and researches, even way ahead of or way before the COVID-19 hit, has been a very long process. All the surrounding industry, all the researchers, all the institutes are devoting themselves into providing a better way to measure or to monitor or track the people's vital sign, all leaning toward to have a better lifestyle. In other words, for the young people, it's a better lifestyle. For an old people like myself, it's a quality life. So these questions Now, because of COVID-19, all revealed to the services. So what FaceHeart does is we provide things. Technology-wise, it refers as RPPG. I have to give you something like a character you never know what is really meant. But PPG, I think everybody would know it because that's Apple Watch. They are looking at a lot of fancy people, not just iPhone, from the Garmin to the Apple Watch. Apple Watch essentially using a technology called PPG. It's actually all the light coming, going into your skin, get a reflection, optical devices. Then they can measure. They can measure your vital sign. Just as you put a single one click into your finger, remember all those kind of medical instruments. I use the same, almost similar technology. But this time, because it's from Apple, come on, it's from Apple. It's not from nobody. Everything coming from Apple, from Microsoft, from Google, from FaceHeart in the past 10 years, it must be great. Because it's come from Apple. Nowadays, people rely on Apple Watch. It doesn't matter if it's accurate or it's not accurate. It's a living style. It's a part of the way. But along the research part of this AI technologies, it becomes a new era we call RPPG. R stands for remote. See, remote means what? It's a camera is remote. So the camera can be, this distance can be further distances. It depends on quote-unquote the conditions where you want to measure your vital sign. So let's talk about the AI part of the RPPG. There must be one thing, actually two things related to the AI. So when I look at your face, also FaceHeart Technology looking at your face, I have to take my glasses out. It basically take this part, this rectangle part of your face, the small rectangle right underneath your eyebrows, right above your lips. We use a single cameras, we take 30 frames per second. When we take over anything larger than 15 frames per second, that's called film. We're watching the movie. That's called film. So even though we take 30 FPS from people's eyes, contact is actually a film. So essentially, we are recording this particular rectangle. Why we use the AI? People talk about facial recognition, blah, 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 a lot of, but why we take face? Because it's easy. Everybody has two eyes, one nose, and one mouth. It's very easy for the camera to capture the image and then grab this area. So what we are really looking at, we're looking at the color. Remember, it's a camera, so as a color has a right, G, green, B, blue. So think about it, imagine when your heart pump, the blood travel all the way through to your face, then come down, coming out. So through this very small millisecond, very small duration of period, we're looking at the color change, the red color change, the black color changes. So through this one, just like similar to PPG, Apple Watch. Apple Watch use infrared camera, using optical, grab your skin, get the feedback. Similar things. We're looking at your face, we create the energy. Reflection is the energy. This is the physics. This is the beauty part of quote-unquote theoretical. Theoretically, its energy represents not just from your skin, also when the blood flow into your face. So we recreate those energy change. Essentially, we recreate similar wave. That wave can be essentially correlate to the EKG. If you are older enough, you have a heart problem like I have, big fat dude, must have some kind of heart problem. So we go to this hospital, have all the EKG clock. So we see the wave diagram from the machine. That's equivalent to when we look at your face, or when FaceHeart Technology look at your face, we look at the wave changes. So by grabbing the first part of the AI technology is to address this particularly rectangles of your face, then we will be able to grab this and take the things out. The second part of the technology is actually all the image processing. Nothing specific, nothing fancy, but it's hardworking. Because when I talk about remote, you talk about noise. You talk about microwave, create a frequency that may interferences. You talk about I being moving around, I mean, take a yaw, actually change the pictures, so create our noises. So the first part when we grab, or FaceHeart technology grabs the image, you have to get rid of the image. So you kind of recreate by using, quote unquote, a stabilized duration of the pictures. Then from those one, we have to handle also all the lighting issue. You know, you are taking the picture with a darker light. Essentially, you cannot take when it's really dark, you can't see nothing. But there is a light requirement, there's a reflection requirement. There are a lot of quote-unquote environmental noises. Through the image collection, we need to get rid of them. So the final part is essentially the beauty of the solution. Is after all the processing of the image, we try to recreate the result. The result has to be simulate to the actually vital sign coming out of the medical devices. So this part, we actually run through another part of artificial intelligence. Everybody who work on the AI knows the AI has to some way, somehow relate to the thing we call ground truth. Imagine when you first teach a robot AI to do the Go or the chess, you have to tell the machine this is the rule. Similar, when you get anything related to artificial intelligence, you run through, doesn't matter what kind of your neurology network, those are the buzzwords. If you are working on AI, you know what I'm talking about. You run through those algorithms. However, how do you create a ground truth, which is the baseline to basically teach this algorithm, say, under this particular situation, the equivalent truth, under this particular moment, this is what is going to happen. So that takes us to the next part of the AI is trying to create an quote-unquote an algorithms or an essentially how to transfer or translate the image into corresponding vital sciences. Now, is the number one question besides what's the secret source of a technology is everybody asks. I think people listen to me, hopefully understand what I just talked. But I think one question you will looking at me and get some faces, look at me, say, you must be joking. How accurate it can be. So how accurate it can be is another secret source of these technologies. So in order to make sure the vital sign we created can be retro back to what being approved, quote unquote, by the medical society or by the hospital, by the clinical, we work with 6 different hospitals in Taiwan, and naming Taiwan University Hospital, Chang Memorial Hospitals, and then Taipei Veteran and Hospitals, Endtoend, which is a small hospital, also the McKay Memorial Hospital, as well as the Taipei University Hospitals. Those 6 different hospitals, we through all kinds of IRB, it basically is a clinical trial. We work with the 6 different departments, including cardiologists, including dialysis processing, in terms of chest for the sleep apnea, also neurologists. There are about 8 different departments or different vertical medical practices we're using in conjunction with the medical treatments. When the physician or doctor is conducting the treatments, we have a camera sitting side by side. It doesn't influence the process of the clinical progresses, but through the duration of the medical practices, we take the image of the patients, then we also take the corresponding time clockwise, every minute, every seconds, every milliseconds, the corresponding result out of the medical equipment. Those medical equipments are being used by the medical industry for the past 30, 40, 50 years. So these are the information we're using through those 6 different clinical progresses for almost 2.5 years. We create many, many minutes. We call the ground truth of this image to create, to continue improve algorithms. So we provide, we call the adequate result of the AI processes. So this continually, we will continue to do. Then People will then ask, yes, you are very accurate, so what? How can it be applied to the general public like us, like you, like me, like your father, or like your girlfriends or boyfriends? Answer is very simple. In order to provide this we call the SmartHealth AI Innovation into the application or direct become a market viable solutions, you have to be able to divide your solution into two parts. Number one, it has to be integrated into existing so-called infrastructures. Infrastructure is what? In terms of camera, the infrastructure, the number one, everybody has it, is your cell phone. So our solutions, we put all the AI process and let all the AI algorithm computing power running, we call edge devices. Edge devices can be your iPhone, can be your Samsung Android phone, can be your laptop. It can be on a televisions, can be any of the things. So the beauty of these solutions, in order to make it market viable, it doesn't matter if a FaceHeart or you are doing the same thing, you have to be able to divide the solutions into a practical world. So the first effort we've been done for the past years to make the solution running on edge devices. After edge devices, people will then ask, then what's next? What is going to be next to make it viable? To make it viable, then we have to look at the industry. If you look at today's industry, you talk about health. Everything related to the health, in the United States, there's a big daddy called FDA. In Singapore, there's a big daddy called, I believe it's called SHA, if I think, Science and the Health Authority. In the Europe called CE. So all this big legal watching body are watching you. So for any kind of a new technology, it doesn't matter if it's what we are doing or you are doing it on the 5G or on the IoT, anything is in this regard, you have to deal with so-called market trend, so-called future growths. So we actually run into this big daddy many, many times. Our customer asks us, say, is FDA proof? No. Why? Because FDA never thought of that. They will actually require such kind of technologies only after the pandemic situation hit. All of a sudden, people like you probably working at home today, so there's another buzzy industry called telemedicine. People talk about using the remote technology to get your quote-unquote health-related insurance requirements comes in. Because of that, in January 12 this year, 2021, FDA Americans another round of issues that specific address a system called SAMD, called Software as a Medical Devices. People working on this industry long enough would know SaaS, right? Software as a Services. Everything has to be SA something. But because of this initiative, it actually create another wave of the entire AI related to the health, particularly on the software, trying to provide a solution that can meet the requirement from FDA. I believe the CE will follow. I believe all around the globe, the equivalent health authority will then follow what FDA does. In this particular one, for us, we're looking at your face. I have to be very honest with you. We cannot do a darker skin. Nobody can. So in our clinical trial, we have to handle process from, for example, the number 1 is the whitest, the number 6 is the blackest. The people from Congo Republic, we just can't do it. It's just too dark. So people ask, then what are you talking about? So I give you an example. If you actually know what the Obama looked like, Obama, the ex-president of the United States, his color is about 4.5. So we actually leaning toward to make sure that we can do majority of the 5, but there, once the skin got darker and the algorithm itself, we have a difficulty because we cannot see the right color through clearly just because the picture itself has a lot of background in there. But those are the challenges. Nobody said that we come out with a new solutions, we are number 1. If you are, I collapse on you. We are not. But we continue to improve, we continue to get through this hurdle. But the question for any businessman would then ask me, then what are you doing here? You must get a lot of money, a lot of investment to wait for you. That's yes, and that's also no. For any kind of new technology going forward, you have to also understand what the market requires you. So essentially, we call smart AI related to the vital sign industry can actually be divided into two parts. The first part we refer as a smart medical. Anything to do with the clinical, anything that FDA will looking big eyes on you, anything related to the medical, we call the smart medical. But another side of flip the coin, we call the smart health. The smart health is general just to help you have a better life quality, to have a better health conditions. So in that regard, we actually are in the processing to apply for the FDA quote-unquote certifications, looking at the progress or the process time of the FDA require. If you are the EUA related, anything with emergency, you probably got approved quite earlier. But anything other than that, you probably take the next row. But however, we at the time when everybody in our industry are trying to get FDA approved, we actually address a different issue, trying to looking at from a supplemental point of view. That vital sign can help you to improve your daily life, to give you a much better health conditions. Is not direct related to the medical stuff. So those industries we call smart healths. So a FaceHeart point of view, we have a framework. We call it framework. If you asked me 6 months ago, I dare not to say we have a framework. I will never say I have a platform. Platform is a lot of people like to say, yeah, I have a platform. Platform is a big challenge, is a huge things to achieve. But framework meaning we provide enable technologies. We provide hooks. We provide enough, quote unquote, a SOP processing or a process that allow the community, allow all we call the player in the value chain can join into we call the consortium, we can call a society to provide a better solutions using the AI, using different part of equipment, using a lot of cloud services to provide a specific requirements that can be used by many industry. So what are those industry? Industry typically people will say, oh, nursing home, the elderly center, the old people need to be watchers. Old people can say, I have to do fitness, better health. I'm doing a lot of exercise workout. Or I can just doing dietary services. We provide a daily supplements. We provide information to improve. All in all, if you have a remote technologies that can use a very simple device just as your cell phone, that can provide you not just the monitoring, but also a recording of your daily vital sign or your daily health conditions. That will continue not just for the old people, but for the younger generations that can allow them to build a better behavior of treating themselves, treating their body, a better practice for them to improve their vital sign, to continually have a better life. So essentially, people ask me, then what's your product? What do you provide? If I'm telling you I'm providing you a quote-unquote end-to-end solution, I'm lying. Any kind of a new technology, any kind of a new industry, it is very difficult to provide end-to-end solution because nobody knows. The market itself, just as you are in a new markets, it takes time for the market to become, I use the word materialize, then I use the word mature. The market won't be mature just like that. It takes materializes progresses. Materialize meaning it has business transactions. It has a business meaningful practice on doing that. So what we provide, we are a software. AI, by definition, is software. It has nothing to do with the hardware, are all being our intention to integrate or to either to embed it or interoperate. It's different. Embedded means I'm putting inside. Interoperated is we have a loosely coupled connection. We are going to do that. So AI is a software, so we are basically condense and basically packaging our different solution into a different category of a software. We are a software licenser. We're working with value-added service provider. We're working with a medical channel. We're working with the hardware manufacturing, even handset manufacturers. We're working with a telecom operator. We're working with a corporation. We're even working with government bodies to provide a COVID-19 quote-unquote watching applications, just as simple as maybe everybody needs it today. So that is what FaceHeart is all about. We are an entrepreneur per se. We are a quote-unquote a front runners in this industry, but by no means this industry just begins. I invite a lot of people think about along this line. There are many applications and services that can be provided to provide a better smart health environment using an innovative AI solution such as FaceHeart. These are huge opportunities. These are huge way for the AI and innovative AI solution to actually create an exciting industry that is called smart health that can really revolutionize people's next 10, maybe 15, 20 years of your life. To close the speeches, I wish everybody has a better lifestyle. I certainly hope everybody has a quality life as going forward. That's pretty much what I can share with you. Majority what I just said was what we as a FaceHeart, as a company, as a solution providers have been gone through for the past 2.5 years, even talking to our customer, talking to the market, talking to the technologies. That's who we are. FaceHeart, we look at your face, we know your heart, we connect AI from your face to your heart. Thank you for listening to today's presentation. My name is Jerry Chang. Thank you.
FaceHeart Enterprise Pandemic Prevention System. FaceHeart Clairvoyance is a software as a medical device application suite designed for remote health monitoring. It can be used by enterprises, government agencies, nursing homes, schools, factories to monitor individuals' health conditions seamlessly, systematically, and remotely. By incorporating a simple camera with image processing algorithms and AI technologies, FaceHeart Clairvoyance not only removes the inconvenience and discomfort of wearable devices for real-time physiological measurements, but it also brings various levels of flexibilities to the traditional healthcare management systems. FaceHeart makes you healthier and safer.